how does a man go from serving time as a federal prisoner to representing the United States in Paris? And, doing all that while overseeing a family empire valued at, what, $7.1 billion?
It sounds completely unbelievable, doesn't it? Like something straight out of a Hollywood script.
Exactly.
Huh.
But this is the actual story of Charles Kushner. It's extraordinary, deeply controversial, too. And today, that's what we're diving into, how this unique trajectory, which just defies all conventional wisdom, actually happened.
Welcome to the deep dive.
We've gathered, quite a stack of sources for you today. We've got in-depth biographies, sharp strategic analyses, detailed financial reports.
The works.
Yeah, and our goal isn't just to list events chronologically.
No, never at all.
We want to really cut through the noise, pull out the core insights, and try to understand the mindset, the thinking that allowed Kushner to navigate these incredible highs and, frankly, devastating lows. That's right. We're digging into the principles, the philosophy, the sheer force of will behind it all. How did he not just survive scandals that would end anyone else, but actually seem to use them as a springboard?
It really challenges how we normally think about failure, success, even redemption,
Absolutely. So we're going to look at this from a few different angles. We'll explore his almost primal financial mindset, his really audacious career strategy, some counterintuitive habits, his life philosophy, his approach to power, and crucially, how he seems to have mastered leveraging crisis itself.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, so we really have to start at the foundation, his worldview. Charles Kushner, born 1954, Elizabeth, New Jersey. His parents were Holocaust survivors.
And that background, you just can't overstate how formative that was. It wasn't just a biographical detail.
No.
It instilled this incredibly deep, almost visceral understanding of scarcity, what it means to lose absolutely everything and then have to rebuild from scratch.
Right. And this experience, this understanding of trauma and survival, it shaped his whole definition of money, didn't it?
Profoundly. For the Kushners, money wasn't primarily about, buying nice things or luxury. It was about survival, sure, but also dignity, security, and building a legacy, something permanent that couldn't be taken away again.
A perspective born from absolute vulnerability.
Exactly. And it's a definition of wealth that's just fundamentally different from how most people probably think about it today.
And he didn't just hold on to that philosophy, he built an empire on it. Founded Kushner Companies in 1985, took a pretty modest family operation and turned it into this quietly dominant property empire.
And it's interesting how he did it initially, not with flashy skyscrapers right away.
No, his first focus was stable, income-generating multifamily housing, apartment buildings.
Which allowed for really rapid but also remarkably quiet growth. By the early 2000s, even before his big public downfall, the company already had something like 20,000 apartments, plus commercial properties.
Building deep foundations, almost under the radar.
Yeah. And this leads us to this idea we've identified from the sources, legacy capital thinking.
Okay.
It's this core belief that money's highest purpose isn't about personal luxury today, but about the endurance of the family dynasty.
So every deal wasn't just about the immediate return.
Exactly. Each acquisition, each investment was about embedding the Kushner family deeper into the American economic fabric. Real estate wasn't just an asset on a spreadsheet, it was leverage, a bulwark, a way to guarantee the family name's security, its permanence, making sure it wouldn't be vulnerable like his parents were.
So connecting this back for you, the listener, the lesson from his playbook seems to be that real wealth isn't just about your current spending power.
No, it's measured by the influence, the security, the continuity you create for future generations. It's a multi-generational fortress-building mindset, really, not just a personal bank account.
It totally reframes rich, doesn't it?
It really does.
Okay, so he's building this legacy, this fortress, and then boom, he hits a wall that would have just completely ended anyone else's story. We jump to 2005.
The conviction.
Yeah. 18 counts. Tax evasion, witness retaliation, illegal campaign contributions. It leads to federal prison in 2006.
And the general consensus, not just in the press, but everywhere, was career over, done, finished, public, humiliating, the end.
Right, finito. And this is where Kushner just diverges from almost everyone. Look at his response.
It's stunning. Just 1 year after getting out of prison in 2007. What does Kushner Companies do?
They make this unbelievably audacious move.
Audacious is the word. The $1.8 billion purchase of 666 Fifth Avenue in Manhattan.
Which, at the time, was the most expensive single-building deal in U.S. history, ever.
And it was massively leveraged. Right on the cusp of the 2008 financial meltdown, people were screaming reckless, a desperate gamble, laden with debt, super high interest rates.
It looked like a catastrophe waiting to happen, a final disastrous miscalculation.
To almost everyone, yes.
And this is where the story gets, well, it's almost hard to believe what looked like certain ruin, this potential coffin nail.
Over the long haul.
Yeah, over the long term, it transforms into this masterstroke of strategic positioning. Fast forward to 2018.
Brookfield Asset Management, global powerhouse. They sign a 99-year lease on 666 Fifth Avenue for $1.286 billion.
Which effectively bails out the family, locks in long-term cash flow.
And allows the building to be rebranded, shedding the old image, becoming 660 Fifth Avenue. The narrative just completely flips.
Wow.
We're calling this the calculated comeback gambit.
Okay.
Instead of shrinking away after prison, he doubles down. An iconic, super high-stakes project. He wasn't just betting on the building itself.
He was betting on its icon status, on the market eventually recovering, the long-term leverage.
Exactly. All of it.
Yeah.
It shows that empires aren't just built on safe, steady steps. They're often defined by these incredibly bold, sometimes seemingly crazy moves, especially when everyone else is running scared, seeing opportunity where others see ruin.
So the lesson here, maybe for anyone trying to build something significant, is it's not about never making mistakes.
Not at all. It's about having the guts, the vision, and maybe just the sheer staying power to survive those mistakes long enough.
And smart enough.
Yes, and smart enough to eventually turn them into leverage. That whole 666 Fifth Avenue saga, it was a very public, very expensive lesson in resilience. A declaration, really.
Okay, so after prison, he gets out, makes this huge bet. But then he does something else that's really counterintuitive for someone needing to rebuild their image.
He goes silent.
Deliberate silence, complete opposite of what you usually see, right? Other disgraced figures rush to do interviews, write memoirs, go on these apology tours.
Redemption tours, yeah.
Kushner, nothing. He chooses invisibility, quietly goes back to managing deals, rebuilding trust, reconnecting his network, all completely behind the scenes.
And this becomes his silent builder mindset. It's fascinating because at the same time, his son Jared becomes this incredibly public figure in the Trump White House.
Right, total contrast.
But Charles stays in the shadows. Rarely quoted, hardly ever photographed, almost never seen publicly. But everyone understood he was still absolutely central to the family's business decisions.
He seemed to believe reputation is rebuilt through results, not words.
That's the core of it. Actions, not apologies. Let the empire do the talking. Don't try to rewrite the narrative through the media. Just build.
And the result? Well, by 2024, Forbes pegs the Kushner family wealth at $7.1 billion.
And the really symbolic part, that number actually surpasses the estimated wealth of Donald Trump's real estate empire. Given the family ties, that's quite a marker.
Yet if you ask anyone, hey, remember Charles Kushner's big comeback interview? They'd draw a blank, because it never happened.
And that was the plan all along. It was by design.
So the lesson here is pretty paradoxical for our world today, isn't it? Everyone's obsessed with visibility, personal branding, being online.
Constantly communicating.
And Kushner demonstrates that, actually, silence can be an incredibly powerful strategic tool. Real, lasting influence, in his playbook anyway, often grows quietly. Let the results speak louder than the name.
It's a masterclass in strategic discretion.
And that discretion, that focus, it all seems to come back to this one almost primal guiding principle for him: family first.
Absolutely. You can trace almost every major decision, every success, every scandal, back to this relentless drive to protect and advance the Kushner family legacy.
And the most notorious example, the one that landed him in prison.
The 2005 conviction. It wasn't just about taxes or campaign finance.
No, the witness retaliation charge.
Right. He orchestrated this incredibly sordid scheme, hiring a prostitute, videotaping an encounter, specifically to discredit his own brother-in-law.
Who was cooperating with federal investigators against him.
Exactly. Even in that moment of desperation, the motivation was crystal clear. Protect the family's interests, perceived interests, at absolutely any cost. Even using these extreme, morally fraught tactics against a relative.
And then, fast forward years later, you see the flip side of that same intense family loyalty playing out.
The presidential pardon, December 2020, from Donald Trump.
Which was significantly helped along by his son Jared's position deep inside the White House.
It wasn't just political expediency, though obviously that was part of it. Sources describe it as the culmination of years of unwavering loyalty, this unbreakable family bond. It shows that family first operates on multiple levels: personal, financial, political.
So this is what you've called clan-first decision-making.
Yes. Unlike, say, a public company CEO who has a fiduciary duty to shareholders, Kushner's decisions seem fundamentally driven by loyalty to blood.
Even if it meant huge financial risks, legal jeopardy, political controversy.
The driving question always seems to be, does this protect or advance the Kushner dynasty? Politico had that memorable line, a man willing to burn his own name if it meant saving the Kushner dynasty.
It's a strategy that clearly secured the family's position, but wow, it came at a cost, leading to some very difficult, some might say scandalous choices.
It's definitely an uncomfortable lesson viewed through a conventional moral lens. That intense loyalty, it can be the source of incredible resilience, this powerful cohesion.
But it can also be a blindfold, leading to choices that seem way outside normal boundaries.
Potentially, yes. It highlights that complex tension between personal ethics and dynastic ambition.
So, okay, he has the wealth, he rebuilds it, but he clearly understood wealth isn't the whole game. It needs to be paired with influence, power.
Absolutely. And his path to getting that influence back, and maybe even more of it, was just as unconventional as everything else.
Right.
Marked by scandal, but also by some incredibly shrewd political maneuvering.
Let's trace that political journey. It's quite a ride.
It really is. Before the conviction, remember, he was a huge Democratic Party donor, had access everywhere, governors, senators, deeply networked on that side.
Then prison happens, he gets out, and the strategy shifts dramatically.
Completely. He aligns with the Republican establishment, mainly through Jared and Ivanka's role in the Trump world.
Was this ideology or strategy?
The sources suggest it was almost entirely strategic. A clear, decisive repositioning, treating political alliances like assets, not deeply held beliefs.
And the outcome? Well, we mentioned the $7.1 billion figure by 2024, surpassing the Trump organization. That's not just money, it's symbolic power, showing how deeply embedded they became, regardless of party lines.
Right, and this illustrates what we're calling the dual influence loop.
Explain that.
He seems to treat politics much like he treats real estate. It's a market, an ecosystem you enter, you exit, you buy, you sell, based purely on where the leverage is strongest at that moment.
Not about lifelong loyalty to one party or ideology?
Not at all. Those shifts in allegiance weren't contradictions from his perspective, they were tactics. Calculated moves in a long-term campaign for influence. Influence is dynamic, something you deploy strategically, not a fixed belief you defend.
So for you listening, while most of us see politics as, a battle of ideas and values,
Kushner seems to see it as an ecosystem of transactions. Access and leverage are the real currencies.
the lesson, maybe a bit unsettling, is that real power often flows to those who can adapt quietly, shift alliances effectively, and embed themselves in the system, letting results speak louder than accusations or ideological purity tests.
It's a pragmatic, almost transactional view of power.
Okay, finally, let's talk about what might be the most defining characteristic of his whole career. Resilience. Just sheer, unbelievable resilience.
It's not a straight path up, is it? His career is literally a cycle of collapse and then recovery, often seemingly impossible recovery.
Each crisis, incredibly, seems to become a stepping stone, not an end point.
Exactly. This is the crisis to power cycle. Let's tick them off.
Okay.
Crisis 1, prison, 2005, 2006. Should have been the end for him. Applause. Immediately followed by the massive, risky 66 Fifth Avenue purchase. Already planning the comeback.
Right.
Crisis 2, the near collapse of 666 Fifth Avenue itself during the 2008 crash. That huge debt almost sank everything. But it becomes a strategic reset, leading eventually to the 2018 Brookfield deal. The asset isn't just saved, it's repositioned brilliantly. Crisis 3, the public stigma. The felon label hanging over him. Pretty much wiped clean by Trump's presidential pardon in 2020, a direct result of that political strategy, placing Jared in the White House.
Then Crisis 4, which is just astonishing.
His confirmation as ambassador to France and Monaco. May 2025. A narrow vote, 51-45, takes office in July. It's a living paradox. A convicted felon representing the U.S. abroad, an incredible re-entry to the highest levels.
And he's barely settled in Paris.
When Crisis 5 erupts. August 2025. A full-blown diplomatic incident. He's summoned by the French Foreign Ministry after publicly slamming President Macron over anti-Semitism.
For any normal diplomat, that's career over. A huge international mess.
But for Kushner, it seems less like a blunder and more like another calculated move, another battlefield, a chance to assert moral authority, maybe shore political capital back home. It's like he sees these fights not as problems, but as opportunities, raw material.
What just consistently jumps out across all these examples is his ability not just to survive the crisis, but to actively use it, leverage it, make it a catalyst for the next move.
Prison sets the stage for the comeback. A failed deal becomes a foundation for stability. Diplomatic conflict becomes a platform for influence.
He doesn't just weather storms, he seems to harness their energy, transforms them.
Which brings up a really fundamental question, doesn't it? Are lasting empires built by avoiding storms or by mastering them? Kushner plays this incredibly long game. Every setback is temporary. Every controversy is just material to work with.
Power isn't destroyed by crisis in his world.
It seems to be forged by it, profoundly.
So wrapping this up, we've journeyed through this extraordinary, almost unbelievable paradox of Charles Kushner's life. From federal prisoner to U.S. ambassador in Paris, overseeing a $7.1 billion family empire that, symbolically anyway, now outcases Donald Trump's.
And the enduring lesson, maybe, is that wealth and power aren't always fragile things, easily broken by failure or public shame. In the hands of someone like Kushner, they seem forged in conflict, through humiliation, through this relentless will to play the long game.
His story is a powerful reminder that the very things that should destroy someone, prison, financial collapse, disgrace, can actually become the crucibles where influence is reforged, maybe even stronger than before.
But we have to acknowledge the shadow side too, right?
Absolutely. This path to power, it's undeniably stained by contradiction. That fierce family loyalty, it led directly to scandal and prison.
Those bold investments teetered on bankruptcy for years.
Even the ambassadorship, the peak of influence, erupted in controversy almost immediately. His empire stands as proof that the road to power is rarely clean, almost never straight, and often deeply complex.
Yeah, and it forces us maybe to ask a provocative question. When we see a trajectory like this, is redemption actually earned by the success? Or does the success itself, in the public's eye, just create its own kind of redemption?
So when you hear about a man once branded a felon, now representing America on the world stage, what do you feel? Is this a story of redemption, however unconventional? Or is it just a story about raw power rewriting the rules? It's a journey that really makes you think about resilience, loyalty, and ambition, and how they all mix together. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.